Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Yoyo. My first topic for this is everybody's guess. Religion. Haha. I know, it's crazy, right? I love to debate with people, argue with people, but not in a way of like me being right or something like that. It's just, I like to see what their point of view is on certain topics because I'm just like, but don't you think it's this? Don't you think it's this? You don't have like, I question everything. I like to, you can say I doubt a lot of things, but I also like to, figure it out for myself. Because a lot of people's, point of view, they get to you. Like people's point of view just like makes you seem like you don't have your own belief system or your own thoughts and stuff like that. And I just want to start off and say, I'm going to talk about religion in my point of view, but I'm not an atheist. Okay. I don't have anything against atheists, and I understand because it's a really fine line when you start, exploring certain things. And I choose to believe that there is a God. So, it could be debatable, of course, but I have my own faith of who God is, what is God, and stuff like that. So, and now I want to tell you, I want to, take you along the way of my journey. I met some people and had different conversations about who is God, what is God, and stuff like that. And, throughout this whole podcast, I hope you guys enjoy. Hopefully it's not too controversial for you guys because, again, I come from, like I said in my intro video, I come from a religious background. Have religious parents and stuff like that. They're not overly religious, and I'll get into what is overly religious later. But yeah, just want to give my little point of view, But I want to talk about religion because for me, religion could be good and it could be bad. That's just my, my opinion. And I think a lot of people see it the same way, especially now. Today, like people are more educated because, they have the internet, they have ways to look for things. They even have books now that for a book reader, or people like listen to podcasts and stuff like that and listen to different points of views and be like, oh, yo, this dude has a point. Or, oh, look, I think something similar. And that's what I want to talk about here. I want to talk about how my point of view changed, over the time. But I want to start off by saying this. Religion in its purest form can help heal the world. That's it. Simple as that. Religious people in their purest form can be there to help people too. A lot of people in religion get a little too power hungry, and that's the honest truth. You ask anybody who's religious, once they get to a certain level, they can't go back down. There's no going back down for them because it's like, this hunger that they need to feed themselves and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people are going to debate that, and it's okay. It's just my opinion. And okay, you could say my opinion is wrong. I understand. My opinion looks wrong, but to a lot of people, I think it looks right. Because I was seeing a lot of things that I've seen in the past, and I've heard of preachers and all this stuff that is just, it doesn't seem godlike to me. It stops being what God is, and it starts being what God should be. And that's where I have a problem with religion, But like I said, religion in its purest form can heal the world. It can bring peace to the world. But also, religion is a two-sided coin. So it could bring peace, but it could also bring war. And I think a lot of the stuff that we've been going through is not political. It's not money-wise, is religion. Over everything, it's always like who's right, who's wrong, stuff like that. It's beyond, just the political point of view or the money-wise. It's more than that, okay? It has a lot to do with it. But it's one thing to say that this is mine and the other to say this is yours. A lot of people don't like doing that, seeing what's whose. Sad reality is that religion was made to control people. I'm sorry. It's the truth. Like, this is not only my truth, this is the truth to millions of people out there. That religion has become that forefront to control people. And, the government in the past knew that. Kings and, queens and stuff like that, like royalty, everybody in the world who has some kind of, governments and stuff like that, understand what I'm saying, that religion is the easiest way to control somebody's mind and tell you, oh, I believe this, you should believe that, stuff like that. And we can look at the past in this, in this country, that this country has been manipulated by religion, but also has manipulated religion to benefit themselves, and that hurts a lot of people, I know. It could help people discipline themselves. Religion can help them be better versions of themselves and all that, but it also could turn into a cult, and that's what a lot of people don't like to talk about when it comes to religion. What is religion? What is a cult? what is the belief system? What is all that like? I'm giving my opinion, okay? Because in the past few years, I've studied certain things in religion that I always ask questions about. I'm like, well, when you say this is bad, but you do it in secret, it's not bad. I have a lot of questions about that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people do too, you know. But so many people take advantage of certain situations, and you know, they take advantage of people in you know worse positions than them. They take advantage of people who don't have their own mindset. Like they don't. Let me change my word. Some people take advantage of people who are weak minded. Simple as that. I was called weak minded once. My friend remembers. I hope so. And it made me think. I was like, you know what? He has a point. Because I let my emotions get the best of me. And I think when it comes to preachings and stuff like that, again, I was a Christian. I was, and I was led by that. People preaching to me and people telling me what I should and shouldn't do, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be a good boy. And I started seeing things, and I'm like, but you're not good. If you tell me what you're doing is good, then nobody's good, because it just doesn't seem right. Because if I do something close or similar to that, I just get ostracized, and that's not right. Because I believe differently, I just look differently. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I have different type. We all have different types of religious people in our lives. We have extremists, or exaggerate what they say their rules say about being holy or being sanctified and stuff like that. You get extremists that are like, you can't do that, and then they're kind of the hypocrites. We're all hypocrites, right, in a certain way. But you get those extreme people that just exaggerate what religion really is. They got those who are in need of it, like a drug. They need it. They're like, oh, I need something to fill me in, and stuff like that. And then they go out and they do whatever they want. Again, no judgment. Anybody can do whatever they want. Even if I could take from scripture, Paul said, I am able to do everything, but not everything can edify me. Like, not everything can build you up. And I do believe there's certain things in Christianity that I learned along the way that I feel that I still have some belief to, but a lot of it, it's debatable. It's debatable nowadays. People who abuse it, those who are in power, they love to abuse it. They love to abuse the power and the system. Like, the system only benefits them and nobody else. When other people who are less than them or don't have anything to their name, like, try to, get, adjust the rules to them too, it doesn't work. And I think that's a broken system, to be honest. If you did something wrong, you have to pay for it. I'm sorry. If you did anything in your past, one day it will come back and bite you in the ass. Simple as that. Sorry, guys. But there's some people who believe that it makes it a better place for the future generations. And I was like that for a long time. And I there was this one thing that I kept hearing: we are the one and true church. And I'm like, I took it as a double meaning. One, I took it as we, the temple of God, right? We're supposed to be the temple of God. As Christians, we believe that. We believe that. Supposed to believe that, right? We're the temple of God. We're the body of Christ. But then I started to see what they actually meant, because there was preachers that were like, we are the one true and the only. And I'm like, whoa, what do you mean? Like, I'm kind of confused. So I started asking questions. I asked my own pastor and stuff, and the people I was close to, because I didn't want people to judge me, because I was like, oh, I didn't know, so I look stupid, and that happens a lot in religion, and we feel like we ask a stupid question, and every question is stupid until you get an intelligent answer. Sorry, just that's just probably like, I'm gonna be like, yo, this dude's ignorant, shut up, bro. You'd be like, I come a long way. I have come a long way. I've come very long. When I started hearing it, and I started hearing it more and more often, that people were saying that, oh, we are the one true children of God. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. Like, I don't think God is that unfair, And then I started thinking, okay, does this make God bad? Is God a bad person? You're like, nah, God is not bad. He's always good. He's genuinely good. And then, you go back to scripture and it says, God made everything good. Doesn't mean that everything was actually good and bad in our sense of the word. That I think that word has changed. Like the word of love has changed over the years, and I think that's like that's the trickiest thing ever. Like, where it's good and evil. There's a balance to it. And I know people are gonna be like, "Yo, don't compare it to Star Wars," but I do. That's where my mind goes to. You could call me ignorant, or you call me like little minded. I don't know. You can call me whatever you want. But yeah, I see the balance of good and evil. Like why I'm referring to the Bible. Okay, I'm referring to a lot of things that I've read and people I've heard preach about it. But there was two trees right in the Garden of Eden. Each one of them gave its own, bared its own fruit, and it was unique. One was the tree of life. The second one was the knowledge of good and evil. Why is there good and evil? Okay, well, people say, oh, well, there is good and bad. The thing is, if God is the sole creator of everything, the God that we, read about in the Bible, then we have to, put ourselves to think that God is both good and bad, but in His eyes, everything is good. Like everything is what He's supposed to do. It's like a manager at a plant. He has to decide whether a person is good or bad or stuff like that. And sometimes, that person has a good heart, but the work ethic sucks. So does it make it the manager bad because he has to let that one go? No, I know, I know I'm oversimplifying it with that simple of an explanation, but I think that's how God works. That's my belief, that I think that God works that way. Sometimes bad things bring out the good, and not a lot of people like that. But you need the balance of good and evil, just like you need the balance of light and day. You need the balance. And that's what we have today, the world. It could be good energy, bad energy. And, maybe talk about karma and all this, all the spiritual stuff about like, oh, this and that. And things get really complicated. I think over time, people start to change what religion is, and they just take certain pieces of what they read in their scripture or their holy book, and they're like, oh, well, this applies to me now. But I see a lot of people misquote the Bible, and this whole like only one way to get to heaven seems very unfair to me. So it just seems like God is biased to a certain group of people. You have to know that in the Bible, it doesn't really refer to them as Christians. They follow the people who follow Christ in that time. They were believers. They were followers of Christ. None of them were ever called Christians. That came later on in life. When the first Christian church, Christian to be a follower of Christ, started, and the first Christian church was not what a lot of people expected. And then it was divided, and then it divided again, and then it divided again, and it just kept being over and over dividing. And it's not necessary. It's not God. Okay, if that's God, then there's thousands upon thousands, even millions of different belief systems that people go to the same church but believe differently. Like I've seen pastors that have the same quote but change the meaning for it, and that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people misquote the Bible. They misquote what the real message is behind it. And again, I don't know. I might be misinformed myself, but I've been in ministry for a while as well. Like I was in ministry for a long time, and I chose to start pushing all that away because I wanted to find my own path to God, and I see people be posting like, you're finding yourself or something like that. Like you do have to find yourself. Let's be honest, right? You do have to find yourself. You have to know who you are, so you can accept yourself, so you can accept who God made you to be. If you believe in God. If you don't believe in God, then you just want to find yourself. You want to find the true person that moves you, like that passion that moves you inside, and religion and your passion, you have to choose one or the other. My passion is to preach, but, I have this and I have that. And then some, religion, they're like, well, your past says this, so you can't actually be this and stuff like that. And that goes along the way, right? But others benefit for the personal reasons, right? Money-wise or power-wise, and they just want to settle down where they don't have to worry about anything. To me, that is crossing the line. And if you are being blessed by God, you're abusing what God is blessing you with. And you be like, well, this is what God wanted to bless me with. I don't know. That's where for me religion starts getting a little too convoluted. I'm just like, ugh, I don't really want to accept that. You know what I mean? And others try to hide who they really are until they finally realize that they're not good people. They're not as good as they think they are. You know, um, I don't think I'm a bad person. I don't. I think I'm a good person at heart. I've made bad decisions, of course. We all do. You know, none of us are a saint. All those people who are in positions of power or ministry or anything like that, they can't say they've never done anything bad or thought anything wrong. You know, everything has a balance to it. You know, it's oneself that has to find their own convictions. Oh, the Holy Spirit came and spoke to me. It's like not necessarily all the time. A lot of the times it's our consciousness telling us, you know, this is not right. You know, you grew up this way. You should be this way. But and then some people become your consciousness. You know, they're like start to tell you, well, you should do this because you came from this, so you should be this. And that's where it's just like, okay, now you're telling me what I should do instead of what I could do to be better. You know what I mean? It starts being like pressured. You're pressured to look a certain way, talk a certain way, do a certain thing, so you could be blessed, or so you could be holy and sanctified and consecrated to God. And I know I'm saying that in a sarcastic way, but I'm just saying it because it's just, to me, I feel like a lot of that is hypocritical. You know, a lot of hypocrisy happens when people tell me stuff like that, or people say it to other people. Because again, I was in ministry, I was like that too. I was just like, no, this and this. But I do believe that you should have your own belief system. You should believe in whatever you want. You know.
And now, like, sorry guys, my camera my camera died, so I had to get my webcam. But anyways, so I came from ministry, right? So I did my part, and for a while I thought I failed, because when I gave up my ministry, I was just like, a lot of things were going on in my life, a lot of personal things, but also a lot of things that I saw in church, and it became one of those things that are like, do I really want to be part of this, so-called belief system? Like, do I really want to become what this is? For me, my personal opinion, I started seeing a lot of tradition become forced upon certain people around my same age group, or even the younger generation. And it's crazy because I was part of a leadership in a youth community. I was When I got the position, I was excited, but I was also scared because I was just like, why is God putting me in this position? Why do I have to be here? Why am I here? It's not one of those things that I thought I could do naturally. I just thought it was going to take me some time, and who knew if I was going to have the opportunity. But as soon as, because it's a voting system, supposedly a lot of people said it was rigged, and if it was, then I'm sorry, but it's still rigged today. If it is, whatever. I don't care. That's not mine. It's just, I feel like I did what God wanted me to do at that time. Not necessarily that everything that I believed in was correct, but not necessarily that everything I did was wrong. It wasn't. I don't think it was. Because I genuinely wanted to help young people. I genuinely wanted to help people in my position that were going through a certain stage in their lives, or went through a certain stage in their lives that I went through. I was bullied in school. I was called names. I didn't look the part. I look like, somebody else. Like, a lot of people don't like who I am based off my honesty, right? And that's okay. I find my own humor. I make my own jokes, stuff like that. A lot of people are gonna dislike that, Um, and I've been told that by even family, I've been told that certain things that I don't do right, and I'm like, it's okay, It's me though. I'm not trying to fake to be somebody else. I'd rather be genuine to who I am, and that's what I was when I had a part of ministry. I worked with a youth group for about 5 years, because again, like that last year, I gave up. I'm gonna be totally honest. I gave up because I lost faith in who I placed it in. I placed too much faith in too many people that I know I shouldn't have. And I kept telling the young people, I was like, I'm gonna fail you one day, and it's not a prophecy that I did. It's just I knew that one day I wouldn't be able to take it anymore. And I did that for so long, that I kept fighting this good and evil inside of me, that I'm just like, no, I got to. And where I gave up was when I started seeing myself being consumed about getting back at people for things that they did to me or did to my family or anything. Like, I got to a point where I just like, oh, I don't like who I am anymore. I feel lost. I feel like I've wasted too much time on doing things that I don't have nothing to show for. And again, that's why I felt that I felt like I failed a lot of people, and I felt like I failed, but I started to understand. You had friends, and you guys know who you are, where y'all come up to me and be like, yo, dude, like, you don't have to tell yourself that you failed. You didn't fail. You did a good job, you did the best that you could with everything you had. And I'm like, I did, right? I did. And if I was serving the true God, if I was serving someone, you know, higher power, then I think I did what I could, when I could, and He knew how much I could take. I know a lot of people quote that. It's like, God's not gonna give you what you can't take. That's actually that's actually debatable, because He says He's not gonna tempt you with things, because God cannot be tempted. And then Mother Teresa changed it to, God's not going to give you a weight of something that you cannot carry and stuff like that. But that's a different story. I know you could change the verse to whatever. That's what I'm saying about people misquote the Bible, change the context, and then they don't realize that other people that were different religions or different belief systems made that up. Like, they made it up because that's how they genuinely feel. Not necessarily that they're wrong. It's just that they changed it. But for you to say that, I'm not going to get into that. Okay, I'm getting off topic. Still in topic, but off topic. But did I lose my faith in people? Yes. I lost my faith in people. And these people that I thought God placed in front of me to lead me became more of a, what's called, stumbling block for me. And I didn't like the person I was becoming, and I was very bitter. And this all happened like in 2021. I didn't want to do anything with ministry, but 2020 is where I just, like, I know 2020 was hard for a lot of people, but 2020 was just where I was just like, I'm done. The ending of the year, November, December, I was just like, I told my colleagues, my friends, they're really close friends of mine, that I can't do this anymore. And I knew I hurt one of them. The other one understood, because he tried to put himself in my shoes, and the other one, he was young, he's still young. Um, but I really did feel like I hurt him, because I gave up. I changed my mind, and I'm sorry. Like, I couldn't do anything to make him feel safe, to make him feel welcomed or anything. And then he started seeing things himself. And I'm not gonna say, I have a lot of friends that went through things with me, and then I have a lot of friends who are not even here no more, or who I thought they were my friends. But again, when you grow up, sorry, I never said this, but when you grow up, you start growing apart from certain people. It's not necessarily that they're it's just you outgrow, certain parts of your life. And it's not necessarily that you don't need them. It's just the fact that you need something else, or it's just too much to maintain. Like, you don't want to have that, you know oh man, I feel bad, it's, or like, interrupting their lives because some of them get married, and they start their own lives. You got to let them go. You have to be honest. You still keep in touch with them. When I have a few friends like that, but I don't have a lot of friends, to be honest. I have a lot of friends that are more like acquaintances. Like, I know them, but I don't have close friends. Like, I have a handful of close friends, and those are people that I really keep to my heart. And even though we don't talk much, you know, I have one friend that I talk to more than everybody else, and he knows who he is, and he saw my journey in religion. He saw my journey in my ministry, and he saw how I've changed. Because I started to accept things for my own self. Rather than people tell me what I should believe and stuff like that. And I don't want to change him, because whatever he's doing, whatever he has to do, whether he chooses to do ministry, whether he chooses to do something else, I can't tell him don't do it, because it makes him a really good person. I think he's the what I wanted to be in life, like the good side. But anything evil that I see, anything that I see that's wrong or against me or anything, it's my enemy, and I hate it. And that's the mentality that I'm slowly letting go of. I'm slowly letting certain, and a lot of it has to do with religion, because of what I was taught in church by preachers, and all these people. And then who actually made me think a lot about the way people preached and what they were saying was my dad. My dad was always my biggest teacher, and he told me that you need to observe how people preach. What are they actually talking about, and how much do you take home with you? And I started doing that. I started to pay attention, even listening. I would record myself to listen to the stupidity I would say. And I would say a lot of stupid stuff. And I'm sorry, but I did. And maybe it brought some kind of help for some people, but some other people were just like, this dude's not telling me anything. Not I don't understand what he's saying, and I get it, you know. But I did to a one up. I did to some point lose my faith in God because I felt like every time I prayed, every time I fasted, every time I did what I was supposed to do, right, God stopped answering me, and that hurt the most, And that's what people don't want to hear, you know. I'm not the biggest, what's it called, saint in the world. I'm not a saint. No, nobody is. Okay, anybody who says they're a saint, shut up. I'm sorry, but shut up. But I'm not a saint, And like, the more that I see these people telling me what I should believe in, I started saying, you're limiting God to a certain position too. And I was doing that for so long. And now I'm just like, you know what? I believe in the God of the universe, the God of everything, the God that is above and beyond our own belief system, Because that God seems unlimited. That God seems to make the tough decisions that we can't make. Because for our minds, it's illogical. But for Him, it's the logical step. Because if I believe in that God, I have to believe that that God works in our logic and out of our logic, for us to understand and for us to not understand, because that's who He is. We can't understand who that God is. But this religion that I was a part of, I started seeing how they limited God by certain categories. And what I mean by that is, like, you have to do this so God could do this. And I'm like, God could see your capability. So I don't have to achieve what you have achieved for God to answer me, because that seems really unfair for God to be. God is going to punish you because you did something bad in your past. God's going to punish you because you did this. You left church. You can't. I'm sorry. I'm not in church right now, and I don't know if I'll go back. I don't think I will. I honestly don't think I will. Not because, like, a church building, okay, a church organization or religion or whatever you want to call it, I don't think I'll ever go back to one, because I feel like I have outgrown that part. And it's not necessarily that I don't need God. I do need God. We all need God. I just found a different way to see God and accept God, that I know He's there. And there's times where I break down and cry, and I'm like, God, are you even listening to me anymore? And sometimes I do think that He's not. But and then there's these little moments that I'm just like, damn, that has to be Him. That has to be the true God that I should believe in, Not this religious, limited God. Because that God that I've, been raised to believe in seems very limited to certain, again, certain categories of what we should and shouldn't do, or what we could do and do this. And it, like, I heard a preacher once say, if you're unhealthy, God doesn't like that, so God's not going to bless you, and you have to get healthy. And I'm like, this is ridiculous, to hear somebody say that because you're unhealthy, God is not going to bless you, and that's why you're sick. Like, of course, that's science, it's biology. If you feed your body something wrong, of course it's going to kill your body. It's just like people say about sin. Sin is going to kill you eventually. It's going to get the best of you. But everything is like that. You have to learn to balance everything in the world. But, like, what I want to get to this is that the Bible is a compilation of certain words and scriptures that was written in the past. A lot of the stuff was word of mouth. Then they were, written down, translated. And when I say translated, there's always a loss for words. There's always that one word you can't translate. So they'd be like, oh, something similar. And then it changes, and then it changes, and then it changes. Then you get different versions, different commentaries. You get different points of views. And they change the Bible to mean something that they think it means, and then somebody else debates it. That's where I'm like, do I believe in that God that's confused? I don't believe in the God of confusion, Like, He confuses us all to, just doesn't make sense, one of my favorite rappers, and I know this is like a weird, how are you gonna throw this in there? But one of my favorite rappers, his name is Dax, right? That'd be cool if you're watching this, but I don't think you would. Who knows? You might. Give me a shout out. His name is Dax, and there was a song that where I was falling, into like a depression, and I was trying to figure out why God hasn't answered me, or like I couldn't hear Him, or I couldn't see what He was telling me, or I was just completely lost. But there was a song called "Dear God," and if you haven't listened to it, it's from Dax. It's called "Dear God." Look it up. listen to it. Listen to the words. Yes, he curses. Yes, he says certain things, but he speaks from his heart. And when I heard his lyrics, there was a part that always gets me. He said, "Why are there so many religions and only one of you?" And that like crushed everything I believed in for like a split second, and then it just made me like, everything. I can start seeing things differently, and I'm like, it's it's like an epiphany, like that I had in this song, and that it just spoke to me, and I'm just like, dude, he's right. And then I started looking up religion. Why is this there? How many religions are in Christianity? I'm like, damn, dude, it's crazy. Like, I'm so lost for words because, like, he's speaking truth, and in the beginning of the song he said he's a believer, and at the end of the song he still says he's a believer in God, you know. But after everything he said in the song, like, it just resonates so much in me because I'm like, damn, like, it is us that are bad, it's us that are. And if God created us in his image, then it's the bad parts of God that God is trying to clean out, himself, I think. And that's my personal belief. And I'm gonna be honest. Without religion, I don't feel anything. I don't feel bad. I don't feel like I'm going to hell, or if you believe in hell or heaven, whatever. If you believe in all that stuff, okay, that's you have a hope for something in the future and whatnot. That still seems like a little unfair, But if there is a heaven, I think it's a good place for us to go to rest our minds, our souls, or whatever you want to call it. Because who knows if we're gonna have our own bodies, if we're gonna be bionicles. I don't know. You could imagine heaven is whatever, right? Heaven is for real. But yeah, like letting go of responsibilities that I had in church was such a relief for me. Because I feel stressed out. I'll go to work, come to church, practice, or fix this, fix that, and the audio, fix the music, do this, buy this and that, and I was like never getting paid back for anything, and I was just like, oh, this is getting boring, this is getting tiring, and I feel like I'm just playing a part now. I feel like I'm in a freaking movie and I can't even get out of it. How do I cut these obligations? How do I get out of my contract? And I didn't have a contract, you know. And I was just like, I'm so done. I'm done. I'm done with all this. Like, what else do I have to prove to show that I'm faithful? It didn't have to be all that. When I left, I felt at peace. I felt like God was like, take a break. You deserve it now. And I did. I worked more. I feel free, man. I feel free. I'm not following the same routines. Uh, I would love to change the routines that I was doing when I was in church, but I didn't. Things just turned out differently for me. I feel at peace right now. Like, I used to be scared of, demonic stuff and stuff like that. And like, now I'm just like, I'm not really scared of that stuff. Like, I'm not scared of being condemned or anything. Like, I know God exists, but I don't think I've discovered who he really is yet. Who knows if I ever will? Maybe I'll die thinking about it, you know. But I feel free to think, to question everything, without people criticizing what I think. I'm free to have my own faith in God. And if y'all read the Bible enough, y'all would understand that faith moves the hand of God. So your faith doesn't have to be put in a religious, rules. It doesn't have to be put in that, it doesn't. But if you want to, if that helps you, okay, like, you're free to believe in what you want. Like, and that's another thing, because people who just attack religion, or who attack people who believe, there's a better way to open up their minds, a better way to approach them. And I feel like this is one of those ways to approach them, like, and tell them that God is perfect in his way, and we are perfect in our own ways. But we all have flaws. Does God have flaws? I don't know, because what God is beyond my capability or understanding. I can't fathom who he really, really is, because we put God into a category of what we know in life, what we've learned in life, in a category of limitations. And that's what I don't want to do anymore, because this is God in the religious bubble that I grew up in. But God is bigger than that. He's bigger than the galaxies. He's bigger than the universe. He's bigger than anything that we can put our minds like, this is God. We're going to put him in this box. This is God. God lives outside of that box. I'm sorry. We live here. He lives outside. And I have a lot of thoughts on religion and everything, but a lot of the things seem too ridiculous for me. Fantastical, I guess. Like, okay, these are crazy stories in the Bible and I want to have faith, but were they more figurative than literal? Were they more like a metaphor for certain things that God wanted you to see in, I don't know. Because again, the Bible has been translated and changed and manipulated. Like, you, if you look up the story, the history of the Bible, you will be amazed about how it actually, the Bible that we have today has come to creation. You know, you'd be like, oh, somebody's doing something. You know, there's this one quote that I heard, well, that I read. It's by Aline Gray. It says, "To create, one must question everything." That's what I'm doing now. You know, I'm questioning a lot of things, and I think I'm creating my own faith, not my own religion. I'm not gonna start a cult or any of that stuff. You know, I'm not. I'm not gonna do that, and I don't want to force people to believe what I believe. It's just, don't try to make me believe what you believe, because I don't. I don't believe the same anymore. I believe differently now. And it's good, because it's good to doubt. It's good to question, because you're not just blindly following people. And that's what a lot of people do in religion. They grew up in a religious household, so they just believe blindly. You know, I don't care. It's what I learned in my house. It's what they taught me at church, and or they teach me every day, and or my religion, your temple, whatever you go to. Like, it's, for me, it's like what I said in the beginning. Religious people can be the corruption of the world. Religious people could just break the world. They're the ones who start the wars and stuff like that. But religion in its purest form can heal the world. But I think we're too far from that. Be like, well, God, he's beyond religion. Yes, he is. But not enough people have faith in God. They have faith in their religion, in their belief system, rather than God. The God that is supposed to be the supreme one, the head of everything, And for us to think that there's just this one universe seems very limiting to, just the galaxy that we live in is the only universe that exists. But I don't know. I leave you with that, I'm going to leave you with that. That religion can be very good, but it can be very bad. In my opinion, the way I grew up, the way I saw things, religion helped, but the people who were in this religion, they are bad people. They're not good. And I hope that one day they will change and see their flaws, because like, I felt like I was good at one point and I ended up being the bad guy, because I was trying to force people to believe what I believe in. I don't do that anymore. I used to be very much like that, but it's a self-awareness kind of thing. Nobody's gonna tell you you're wrong until they tell you you're wrong. But some people respect others for their belief system, and I honestly do. But where I come from, what I've been through, I understand as religion is something else, and it could be good, but it could also be very bad. That's it. That's all I gotta say. You know, I want to talk more about religion, but this is just my overview of what I think about religion. I think this is a good way to start my podcast. And if you guys are interested in, sharing this, then do it. Don't try to change the words. Don't change the words. What I'm saying. I'm not trying to attack anybody. I'm not that person. But if that's what you think that this is, I have proof. It's on the internet. It's gonna be here. It's gonna be everywhere. That you see that a lot of people misquote people, take things out of context, and I just want to be honest and be honest with who I am. Hopefully, I could do another part to talking about religion. And talk about friends or people that I know that have their own opinion of religion, and I can question them and ask them questions about like why they believe a certain way and stuff like that. And if you guys have a comment or something, like if you want to condemn me, go ahead. It's okay. You have your belief system, and I cannot tell you that you're wrong, but you can't tell me I'm wrong too. I mean, you can. It's only words. But it's just opinion, okay? It's opinion. It's my opinion, your opinion. I'm just saying where I come from, where religion has become a toxic thing instead of a helpful thing. So this podcast is for my mental health more than anything, not for people to take everything out of context, which they might, which they will. It might be controversial to a lot of people, but it's okay. I'm going to show this to this person. I'm going to do this to this person so they can see how terrible this person is. This dude's an atheist. I'm not an atheist. Some can consider me an atheist, but I'm not. I'm not. And I have nothing against atheists. If you don't want to believe that there is a God, okay. And you can prove probably to me that there is no God, okay. But I choose to believe that there is one. The God of nature, the God of everything. I was told the God of Spinoza, the God of Spinoza. That's the one I believe in. He's the one of the force to me. I believe God is the force. So, may the force be with you. And I'm going to end it like that. And always remember, life is good, but it can be better. Catch you on the next one.